Hello everyone and welcome back to another Code Realized Wintertide Miracle Story, first Christmas story. I wish I could have got all these done before Christmas, but they are extremely long and they take a long time to edit as well. And there's just so much stuff going on for Christmas. Like, I'm actually glad Christmas is over, even though it's my favorite holiday. And then my birthday is 3 days after Christmas, so just busy week. I got a new microphone for Christmas, but I'm waiting to set it up so I can spend some time on it, so I'm still using my current mic, but I'm excited to set it up and see what it sounds like. For today, we're going to go to Lupin, probably. Let's do Lupin's story. Code Realize. Terrorist plot that engulfed the entire world, orchestrated by scientist genius Isaac Beckford, the modern Prometheus. Through the lunatic act of rendering himself a pseudo-deity, thus manipulating humanity to do his bidding, Beckford sought to accelerate the advance of civilization by instigating an endless state of world war. It actually sounds different from the last thing I read, so I'm glad I'm actually reading it. The linchpin of this horrific plan was me, Isaac's daughter, Cardia. Yeah, this is definitely different. Probably because Lupin's like the poster boy of the game, so to speak. He's the main character. Embedded in my chest, blossoming like some terrible flower, was the precursor to the Philosopher's Stone, the Horologium. Beating in perpetuity, it acted as an artificial heart, but it was also a curse, riddling my body with a deadly poison. And yet, my destiny to live as a monster, forever unable to touch or be touched by another living soul. Slowly but surely, it all began to change the night I met a certain gentleman thief. Following that fateful night, both to search for my father and to discover the reason I was born, I journeyed to the city of Still London, where I met many a dear friend. Arsene Lupin, magnificent gentleman thief. M.B. Barbicane, a brilliant engineer in pursuit of his dreams. Victor Frankenstein, alchemist haunted by his past. Saint Germain, a nobleman as mysterious as he was elegant. Abraham Van Helsing, a war hero known as the Human Weapon. Meeting them and living with them, I learned that I was more than capable of love, and most certainly not a doll, as I once believed. I learned that I could feel warmth. I learned that I was no monster. It was through them, I think, that I was able to save my brother. My little brother who yearned for love and suffered dearly in search of it. It was through them that I was able to confront him, a scientist who met a pitiful fate, driven mad by his quest for lost love. My father, in the end, he lost both his mad ideals and his life. I've since returned to my family home in Wales, and I lived with my brother Finis. Sometimes my friends come to visit, and I occasionally visit them, but most of my days are spent in tremendous peace and quiet with my brother. We've been back in Wales for some time now, and just as I began to fall into the rhythm of this calm new lifestyle, the seasons began to turn almost before I realized, and the crisp bite of winter was in the air. As we enter December, our breath is visible as puffs of white, and the wind can feel cold enough to freeze. Winter in Wales is quiet and somehow lonely, but I know the city I hold so dear couldn't care less about the cold. I'm sure it's as vibrant as always. In fact, I have no doubts this winter the Steel City will be even livelier than last year. I found out only a few days ago. It seems London has plans to celebrate Christmas with even more pomp than usual, celebrating its successful reconstruction. Queen Victoria herself intends to lead her subjects in decorating the streets with Christmas trees, and the grand Christmas market will be chock-a-block with stalls and stands. As beautiful as the city is, I can only imagine how glorious it will all seem decorated in a riot of color. It'll be such an eventful day. I can't imagine my friends won't be celebrating, especially Lupin, who definitely loves a good party. I have a feeling that something wonderful is going to happen this Christmas. I can't shake the notion, so likewise I can't help but be excited for the fast approaching date. This is a tale of a certain Christmas day in glorious Wintertide in London. Winter. Night falls early and morning is slow to arrive. The sun seems reluctant to spend much time in the sky, and bracing winds chill to the bone. On an icy early winter's night, beneath the moon, so starkly cold it feels as though even breath would freeze.
これは盛大な歓迎痛み入る。他人の生き地で醜く声太った悪徳商人殿。
He's out thieving. That's funny.
あなたが罪なき人々を虐げた末に手に入れた虚名の象徴、黄金のネックレス。この麗しき泥棒紳士、アルセーヌ・ルパンがいただいていくぜ。
Elegant voice echoes through the night, shattering the winter's silence like glass.
何をしている？捕らえろ！殺しても構わん。
Upon hearing the merchant's cry, a small army of hired thugs rushes into the room. 10 of them, 20, 30. Bizarrely, the merchant begins to applaud, seemingly pleased by how many of his thugs he managed to summon. I chuckle breezily and spread my hands.
おっと、悪い。いただくとは言っても、お代がまだだった。そんじゃ、遠慮なく受け取ってくれ、商人さんよ。別に釣りはいらねえからよっと。
Away my arm, a thick white smoke instantly engulfs the chamber.
なんじゃこれは。下がれただの煙じゃないぞ。体が
And with that, the merchant's small army is wholly incapacitated. Leaving the stunned thugs behind, I kick open a window, grab a roof tile, and sling myself onto the rooftop. I hardly need to mention it, but my escape route was planned long in advance. Laughing again louder this time, I dance off the roof and into the London night.
さて、今夜も守備は上々と。相変わらず自分の手際に惚れ惚れしちまうぜ。
Or at least someone's having fun in his days of retirement. I guess retirement. Dashing along the top of a narrow wall, leaping from rooftop to rooftop. Even the panicked voices calling after me far behind, I fly through the city as though my feet grew wings.
しかし、詐欺を繰り返して私腹を肥やすなんざ、悪党はどこの国でも変わらねえな。
I steal a glance at the necklace tucked safely in my pocket. I had researched it, and the merchant from whom I liberated the bauble had acquired it less than scrupulously. I know the crooked fat cat won't report this theft to the yard. Fat cat. I have a fat cat. He wouldn't dare. If the constabulary presses him about its provenance, he may very well find himself in prison. That said, it's possible the yard may mount an investigation of their own. My escape caused no small racket. Fish tush, it's none of my concern. The man brought it upon himself.
じゃああとは適当なところで降りて人混みに紛れ。甘いぞルパン。貴様の行動などお見通しだ。
You've been cut.
レオンのおっさん、どこから生えてきやがった。
Just as I was about to jump into the gap on the next rooftop, a familiar face rose from beneath its eaves. I headed the foggiest where he may have caught wind of my nocturnal daring-do. But nevertheless, here I stand before the captain of the royal guard and his men. Any number of ploys I might play came to mind, but Lionheart was skilled. He had proven himself a troublesome adversary. Not as troublesome as Sholmes though, right? I click my tongue and stop cold, scanning for an alternate route, just as I spot one.
Yosh! Soin! Kamae!
Half a heartbeat later, the men waiting at attention had trained their guns on me.
おいおい、問答無用かよ。
was about to say that. Like, you're just gonna shoot him point blank like that.
当然の行動だ。この誇り高き王室近衛兵長ランパール・レオンハルト。犯罪者風情と問答をする気はない。
So if they are important criminals, you wouldn't shoot them?
話すと話術に惑わされるから何も考えず撃とうってだけの話だよな。し、兵長殿に聞かれるぞ。
Be quiet.
心配せずとも中身はゴム弾だ。当たっても骨がへし折れる程度だから安心してお縄につけ。
だあ、その発言のどこに安心できる要素があるってんだよ。
Curses. Thin guardsmen with rifles aim straight at my heart. So it could break bones, but we're going to aim it at your heart. I'd have little problem escaping without so much as a flesh wound if I had been running this job solo. Oh. What?
Soin!
Is Ippy going to pick you up?
Cardia!
Oh, Cardia? What? My body moves of its own accord. Rubber bullets may not be fatal, but a direct hit would still do serious damage. Adamant that none would get past me, I spread out my cape wide to protect. Yeah, I'm like, she's not there. I realized my mistake too late and immediately regret my actions. I might protect the whole of London from Lionheart's rubber bullets. It would be to no avail. Why? My beautiful star apprentice, always by my side, was no longer at my side. Aw, poor Lupin. What about Impy? Why isn't he there?
当たった。
Now I think he's faking it again.
兵長殿、命中しました。ルパンは軒下に落下した模様です。
He's stunned.
兵長殿。
He didn't think he would do it either.
おお、よくやった。取り急ぎ落下地点を包囲せよ。
はっ。
No, my controller's gonna die. He's like, whoa.
あのルパンがこうもあっさり。何かの罠か。
I know, right?
ありえね
My fall was broken by a shrubbery. Thoroughly tangled within it, I muttered unconsciously to myself.
え。泥棒紳士ともあろうものが、おっさんたちに不覚を取るなんざ。
A rubber bullet to the chest while I was distracted by someone who wasn't even there. A head-first fall into topiaries. This preposterous vision of a pathetic... This preposterous vision of a pathetic purelaner stuck in a bush, doubtless one of my top 10 greatest failures. So many P words, oh my goodness. Like, I'm stumbling over these words so much because it's just words I never use. Trying to ignore the prickling pain, I forced my way through the shrubs and regained my feet. Spark of luck and misfortune. Since I fell so easily, the guards will be on high alert, hackles raised. Indeed, London's finest appear to be moving with utmost caution. If I manage to melt away into the evening throngs, I'll be home free, though a more inelegant escape is hard to imagine. I use my wire to vault over a wrought iron fence, dodging tree branches, and swiftly turn into another street. Though still dazed from the shock of the fall and impact, I break into a run.
くそ、なんてざまだよ。
If only this had been an isolated mishap. But the fact is, I've been making far too many amateurish blunders of late. Gritting my teeth against the cold, I sprint down the lane to the mansion.
Oh, 待て待てフラン、この薬めちゃくちゃしみるじゃねえか。
効き目優先って言ったのはルパンだよ。もうちょっとだから我慢して。
Hold still and be quiet.
いや、だからってこの薬は。
世間を騒がす天下の大泥棒も医者の前では肩出しってやつ？けどまあ怪我したのがフランちゃんが屋敷に来てくれたタイミングでよかったじゃん。
本当にね。でもルパンにしては珍しいね。こんなボロボロで帰ってくるとか。
今回はあれだ、ちょっと調子が悪かっただけだ。
Victor had a day off from the clinic today. Visiting as any good friend might, he now finds himself regularly tending to my wounds. He came back from the mansion quite exhausted and in not insignificant pain, only to find myself thoroughly manhandled through Victor's medical machinations.
しかし派手にやられちゃってま。ほれほれ、ここの傷なんてこうしてつついたりしたら。いった、あいった。
I know, he's gonna punch you.
フラン、怪我人一人追加な。ついでに頭に病気ないかも見てやってくれ。
仲がいいのはいいけど、怪我人増やさないでってば。
No more casualties, please.
なあ、悪いなシシ。お前にまで心配かけちまったか。
I let my body go limp, CC lapping at my hand. Yes, healing quickly is infinitely superior to healing slowly, and I asked for the stinging tincture myself. Stinging, more like burning, it better not be poison. I keep my breathing steady as Victor applies the last of the dubious unguent.
はい、これでおしまい。幸いなことに骨の損傷はないみたいだね。
I know, because they all aimed at his heart.
多くは内身と落下地の擦過傷。そのあたりの痛みはすぐ取れると思うよ。
サンキュー。助かったぜ、フラン。
I rolled down my sleeves gently, attempting to avoid the cuts and scrapes. Victor and Impy looked fixedly at me, atypical concern written on their faces.
それにしても、やっぱりルパンらしくないよね。
Because he didn't have his partner.
まさか捕まりかけた上に、こんなになって帰ってくるなんて。
だよな。ショルメ相手ならまだしも、相手はおっさんだったって話だし。
どうにも調子が出なくてよ。たまにはこんな日もあるだろう。つーかしれっと俺がヘボ探偵相手なら捕まるみてえな言い方するんじゃねえよ。
I try to summon up bluster, but I hear the lack of conviction in my voice. It was clear even to me that the excuses and reassurances were falling flat.
調子が出ないか。傷以外には特に問題なさそうだけど。
He's lovesick.
でも季節柄寒くなってきて少しずつ風邪も流行ってきたし、ルパン自身何か不調は感じてない？
いや、体の方は問題ねえよ。特に病気って感じもない。
原因が思い当たらないなら単に疲れてるんじゃないの？ほら、あの事件が終わってからもフランスに行ったりこっちで仕事したりでひっきりなしに動いてたわけじゃん。
そうだね。自覚はなくても今まで頑張ってた分の反動が来るのはありえない話じゃない。
So that's it. I mull over the idea, and it makes sense. I realized I had been nodding unconsciously.
つうかさ、こんな調子じゃそのうち本当にヤードあたりに捕まっちゃうぜ。噂の泥棒紳士アルセーヌ・ルパン、足を滑らせて転んで逮捕とか。
ねえよ。ねえよな。つーか、万一俺が捕まったら真っ先に共犯としてお前らの名前出してやるから覚えとけよ。
Accomplices.
熱い信頼ですこと。
I can't help but grin at this, shrugging my shoulders. Victor and MP nod and laugh sardonically.
まあひとまず治るまで無理は厳禁。体を休めることが優先だね。
The fact of the matter is, I can think of nothing more embarrassing than getting nabbed because I pushed myself too hard. With a single quick nod, I resolved to accept Victor's advice. 1 week later,
よし、ほぼ全開だな。
for the first few days of my convalescence, I took it easy, resting as I worked on escape gadgets. Gradually, I began to move my body, transitioning to light exercise with Cece. With all the time I had on my hands, it seemed a good opportunity to put a theory to the test. He looks snazzy.
別に俺の腕が鈍ったわけじゃなさそうなんだよな。
Warming up at a casual pace, I closed my eyes and listened carefully. The faint scent of machine oil wafting from the center courtyard must mean MP's tinkering with his machines again. Outside my window, I hear birds. Judging from the birdsong and wing flap distribution, there must be 3, no 4 of them.
よし、完璧。感覚はこれっぽっちも衰えてね。
Except for when it comes to focus during a robbery. In fact, it almost feels as though my senses are sharper than they were before. So why all the amateur slip-ups lately? I still have the foggiest.
でかい山を越えちまったから、気が抜けちまってるのかね。
My words dissipate into empty air with nobody to hear them but me. When I think of major turning points in my life, the absolute first thing that comes to mind is unsurprisingly the incident. Isaac Beckford's world-spanning terrorist action, what he called Code Realize. I had been aware of it and actively trying to quench it since before I left France. In the end, we were able to prevent the conflagration from expanding beyond the UK's borders, me and my friends in Cardia. After succeeding my master, it became my only goal, my raison d'etre. Dang it, more French words. I thought I was done with the French words. And to be perfectly blunt, it was the performance of heroic thief Arsene Lupin's life. With such a monumental task achieved, I feel satisfied, elated even. Perhaps that's why my moral code as a thief remains steadfastly unchanged, and I no longer feel like my old self. I fulfilled my ultimate goal, and in so doing perhaps lost something of myself. It does make sense. It makes perfect sense, and yet...
それだけじゃねえよな。これは。
I feel restless, ill at ease, unable to shake the feeling I've lost something important. It feels like some force that has been beside me for so long, something that I had taken for granted, was suddenly gone. As if privy to my thoughts, a knock reverberates through the house. My heart skips a beat. No, it couldn't be. Wells is on the other side of the country. She can't possibly be here. Yeah, she does visit from time to time, but surely not today. Purely cognizant of the fact on a purely logical level, I nevertheless call out her name, hoping against hope for a distant possibility.
Cardia!
おや、てっきりうたた寝でもしているのかと思いましたが、起きていたようですね。お邪魔しますよ、ルパン。
A slim figure stands in the doorway, though not the one I was expecting. It is the lord of the manor himself, the Count Saint Germain.
さんじゃねえか。なんだよ。帰ってきてたのか？
ええ、連絡が遅れて失礼しました。何分、先ほどロンドンに着いたばかりでして。
As something happened with the shadowy organization Saint Germain seems to work for, idea. After the Nautilus incident, Saint Germain had been spending less and less time at the mansion, but for whatever reason, he is once again returning to the mansion with frequency. Back when our lives were inextricably enmeshed in the horologium, our personal goals came into conflict at times. But with that affair at an end, there can be no doubt Saint Germain is a trustworthy friend to us all.
旅の空でいい茶葉を手に入れましてね。世間話ついでにお茶でもどうかと伺わせてもらった次第です。男二人では花がありませんが、よろしければ付き合っていただけませんか？
I'm glad I didn't have to say that. Without waiting for my reply, Saint Germain begins pouring black tea.
ひょっとして俺の調子が悪そうだってフランたちに聞いたのか？
Victor and company. Saint Germain claimed some other half-articulated reason for dropping by, but I'm sure he's concerned for me. Grateful for the Count's thoughtful nature, I sit down across from him.
悪いな。気を使わせちまってよ。
いえいえ、お気になさらず。仲間を心配するのは当然のことですよ。しかしまあ、確かに珍しい姿ではありますね。あなたがそこまで悩んだ顔を浮かべるのは。
別に大したことじゃねえ。フランたちが心配しすぎなんだっての。ただちょっと調子が悪いだけで。
Inscrutable as ever, Saint Germain scans my face wordlessly. His thoughts are impossible to read.
なんだ？どうした？
This is getting uncomfortable. Purposefully avoiding his gaze, I take a sip of the tea.
考え事はカルディアさんのことでしょうか？
The way he says it so slow and articulate. I like Saint Germain. Whatever gave you that idea? Like, he only called out to Cardia as you walked in the room. Well, there you go. There's your response. The Count expertly plucks that which had been ailing me from within the depths of my chest, and I hack dramatically.
お前、イデアとやらの力で人の心の中まで読めるとか言い出さねえよな。
まさか。先ほどあなた自身が名前を言いかけていましたので、確認のために口に出しただけですよ。
I know, right?
とはいえ、そこまで素直な反応が返ってくるとは思っていませんでしたが。
Saint Germain managed to poke me right where it hurt. I couldn't think of anything to say. Barely pulling no punches, he takes another step towards me.
やはり、あなたが調子を崩しているのは彼女の事絡みで間違いなさそうですね。
そういうことになるのか、やっぱ。
I couldn't deny it. Looking back, this is what almost got me caught by that crooked merchant's guards. And just earlier, when I couldn't collect my thoughts, they were always dominated by thoughts of her, Cardia.
彼女がロンドンを去ったことを寂しく思うのは当然のことです。それだけ彼女の存在は大きかった。私とてあの花のような愛らしい姿がここにないことを悲しく思っていますから。
Saint Germain is such a romantic.
そりゃまあな。俺も当然寂しいのは否定できねえ。いやけどあいつだけが特別ってわけじゃねえぞ。バンやドラちゃんが出て行った時も同じぐらいの寂しさはあったわけだし。
Why are you trying to play it off? It's okay if you miss her.
そんなに慌てて言わずともよくわかっていますよ。
It was true, though. Even Victor, here in the same city, though quite a distance from Saint Germain's estate. The only people living here now are myself, Impy, and Saint Germain, master of the manse. Not to forget Cece, but the human occupants number 3. Realizing how drastically my friends and the housemates have dwindled in numbers, the black tea sits bitter in my throat.
最後の方は8人と1匹ですか。あの頃は本当に賑やかな日々でした。
What's 8 plus 1? There's 5 guys, right? 5, Cardia, that's 6, Deli, CC. What's the plus 1 then? Well, I guess at the end of Finis's route, Finis was there.
今この屋敷がこんなに静かなことが少し不思議なくらいに。
一番騒がしいやつはまだ残ってるけどな。
Still, even though I've had to part with friend after friend, parting with Cardia was another matter entirely. When I think of them, the first face in my mind's eye is always hers. Unable to deny that fact to myself has formed a vicious circle, only making it worse. Unable to deny what's really going on with me. Oh, his face. He looks so heartbroken.
先ほども言いましたが、ルパンが悩んでいる様を表に出すのは珍しいですね。とはいえ、12月の後半までにはなんとか調子を戻していただきたいところですが。
12月の後半
Saying nothing, Saint Germain produces a broadsheet and slides it over to me. Wearing a puzzled expression, I cast my eyes over an ostentatiously presented article on the front page.
鋼鉄の町に聖夜の灯火を。ノーチラス事件からの復興を記念して女王陛下は町を挙げて大々的にクリスマスを祝うことを発表。へえ、祭りってわけか。女王様も粋な計らいをするもんだ。
ええ、大きな被害があったからこそ盛大な祭りを開いて光を灯そうとのことです。せっかくですし、この屋敷でも祝いの一つもしようと思いますが、そんな賑やかな聖夜の祭りだというのに参加者が暗く沈んでいては悲しいですから。
The corner of my mouth turns up in a dry smile, and the Count's way of being considerate is to vary him. I'm sure he visited my room this morning specifically to show me that article. Yay, invite her. After exchanging a few more pleasantries, Saint Germain eventually takes his leave. Alone now, I absent-mindedly reflect on the events of the recent past. A massive blunder I still scarcely believe I committed. Acting so unlike myself, my friends are voicing concern. And I just can't pull myself out of it. At the heart of it all,
カルディア、お前がそばにいないからだ。
I had to admit it to myself. Ever since Cardia left our merry band and returned to Wales, I haven't been able to stop thinking about her, and that's led to countless little mistakes that keep adding up. To borrow Victor's turn of phrase, these must be the repercussions of my fatigue.
情けねえ。離れて初めて大切さに気づくなんてよく言ったもんだ。
I guess you'll just have to go steal her back. She's come back in every story so far. But worth indeed, without her here, I feel as though I've completely lost sight of who I am. Suppose that I had taken being with Cardia for granted, a matter of course. Immediately following this realization, a bitter regret burns in the pit of my stomach. To think back on our parting, I'm considering going back home to Wales to live with Finis. It was shortly after we succeeded in preventing Isaac Beckford's heinous terrorist attack. But from Cardia and Finis's perspective, they had only just lost their father. She delivered this news to the entire crew with Finis by her side. I suspected such a day might eventually come. Our gang formed organically, comrades united by shared objectives. Some of us achieved those objectives and some did not. Still others among us found their objectives change entirely. Though we all had our personal goals, once the most pressing issue had been quelled, our relationships did not remain the same. In that milieu, Cardia's decision to return to her family home with her only brother seemed natural enough, even if all of us wished the day had not come quite so soon. When the day of her departure arrived, I expended my every ounce of will to keep myself from stopping her. If a happy life with her family is what she truly desires, who am I to stop her? The train carrying Cardia receded gradually into the distance. The call of its steam whistle grew faint, then silent. Where's Cardia's, like, sad face whenever she talks to Lupin? She had a sad face when she talked to the other two. So, she really did give no indication of what she was feeling. And yet there I remained. I don't know how long I stood staring at those train tracks, stretching as far as the eye could see. If only I had chosen different words that day. If only I had been able to toss aside my vanity, my stubbornness, my pride, and simply yelled out, "Don't go." Cardia may very well have stayed here in the mansion, her days spent happily with friends. And she would have been right beside me. I can just see her, laughing so close our hands could touch. Could such a future have come to pass? Empty, meaningless fantasies of futures that might have been passed through my mind one after the other. Loneliness. No, that single word couldn't begin to describe the weight, the choking heat of what I was feeling.
なんだよ、この感情は。天下の大泥棒、アルセーヌ・ルパン様が華麗さのかけらもありゃしねえ。
It was Impy who'd call you a lovesick fool. Probably. I fall flat on my bed, releasing an articulate groan. It's not as though I'll never see her again. She still comes to visit London from time to time. And Wales may be quite a distance, but far from an insurmountable one. The skies are unusually clear, making the heavens seem even more vast than usual. Far corners of my vision, the sun glints brightly in the stark winter sky. I wonder what Cardia is doing right now.
うだうだ考えてるだけじゃダメだ。それこそ俺らしくね。
I know, it hurts my heart to see him like this. Now that I finally understand what the problem is, there are a number of ways I can tackle the issue. Paying an unexpected visit probably wouldn't be the best idea, so first... Now, how to enact this plan I've concocted. I sit at my desk, ruminating. Trying to write a letter to her.
背景、カルディア殿。近いうちにあなたの笑顔をいただきます。泥棒紳士、アルセーヌ・ルパン。
I'm gonna come steal you.
よし。これであとは情報収集して、侵入経路、退路の確保。
Entry and exit route.
って違う。これじゃただの予告状じゃねえか。
I crumple up and toss away the sheet of letter paper upon which I had instinctively written one of my typical dramatic notices. Scratching my head, I stared blankly at the new sheet of stationery, equally as blank. We had exchanged letters before, though not with any particular frequency. But today, for some reason, the words were refusing to flow.
くそ、全然浮かんでこねえ。普通の手紙がこんな難しいとは。
I can't bang out one of my theatrical intentions to burglar notices with barely half a thought, but when it came down to the writing of this particular missive, it felt like dragging my pen hand through molasses.
しかめっ面してても仕方ねえよな。とにかく何か書きながら考えねえと。
Just don't end up like Victor, where it turns out to be like some kind of love letter. And so I resolved to write things off the top of your head. I definitely don't want to get her discombobulated about writing about my recent woes, so it might be better to write about how I've been feeling and what I've been thinking about lately instead of current events. So what have I been thinking about? Yeah, only Cardia.
聞いてくれ、カルディア。お前がこの屋敷を離れてから、ずっとお前のことばかり考えてる。
Did you really write that?
お前の顔、お前の手、お前の唇。毒に隔てられなくなった今、 もう俺たちを阻むものは何もない。
Nothing stands in our way of your lips. Oh my goodness.
愛しい人よ、どうかその唇のぬくもりでこの私の心の隙間を埋めてはくださいませんか。
It is turning into a love letter. This is so funny. I know, right? She'd be so embarrassed. He's happy about it.
ってこれじゃ愛の告白じゃねえか。送れるかこんなもん。
I crushed the sheet of letter paper into a wad and hurled it violently into the bin. This is just embarrassing. It was worse than something of a certain hack engineer who shall remain nameless, am I right? And what's worse, if she reads it, gets the wrong idea, and the gulf between us grows even wider. I thought through things again, rewrote, discarded, rewrote, rinsed, repeated.
全然浮かばねえ。
He's so cute. Once the bin was completely full, I let my head fall to the desk and raised a weak cry.
なんかねえのか。
I'm trying to write a letter because I want to see her. That's the entire point. Yet I can't even write those simple words. Really, how pathetic can I get? Groaning, my cheek pressed against the surface of the desk, I noticed something lying on its far corner. It was the broadsheet newspaper St. Germain had left earlier. That's right, the front page article was all about the London...
そうだ。これなら。
Yeah, invite her out to that. There you go, he's figured it out. Days passed in the blink of an eye. Before I knew it, it was only a few days until Christmas. All throughout the city, gleaming decorations were being hung and the grand Christmas market had sprung up. Preparations were being made across London for the sumptuous festivities to come, just as here on this particular high street. Ooh, that looks even more festive than what St. Germain prepared in his route. And of course, the spirit of Christmas had come upon St. Germain's demands as well.
あ、ルパン、そっちのベル取ってちょうだいな。ここの壁に飾り付けちゃうからさ。
That's a really cute Christmas tree. I like the art style in this game a lot. Hey, at least MP and Lupin won't crash through the window on an ornithopter, right? He's lost in his own world.
もしもし、ルパンさん、聞こえてる？
I wonder why they decided to translate Japanese words into French words. I don't know. Curious.
なあ、飾り付けな。ほらよ。
He's anticipating
あの、サン
Cardia.
キュー。
Oh my goodness.
うわー、ベルが噛みついてきたっておいおいおい、違うでしょ。なんでシシーちゃん渡してくるわけ？
おう、悪いな、シシ。
そこは俺に謝るとこじゃないの？
まあまあ、ルパンもさ、ちょっとぼーっとしてただけだよ。それよりルパン、オーナメントの星を上の方に飾ってほしいんだけど、頼める？
Is Lupin the tall one in this group?
おう、任せときな。身軽さが泥棒紳士の売りだからよ。よし、こいつでいいんだよな。
ルパン、足元足元。
うおー！
Good job.
大丈夫？頭とか打ってない？
I crawled out from beneath the mountain of ornaments I took a swan dive into when I tripped. I wasn't seriously injured and the pain was negligible. Instead, I was shocked in disbelief at having tripped like this.
悪いフラン。壊れちまったやつがあったら後で修理しとくからよ。
I sighed and let my shoulders droop. Christmas is right around the corner. I've been doing my absolute best to get back to my old self, but results this.
困りましたね。華麗なる泥棒紳士ともあろうものがどうにも調子が出ませんね。
I know, he needs Cardia to cure him.
本格的に一回休んだら。最近日常生活も危うい感じだし、大きな事故が起きてからじゃ遅いよ。
この様子じゃ本当にな。マジでどっか病気だったりしない？
違うって。体はどこも悪くねえんだ。
Yeah, not sick, just lovesick. I'm well aware of the source of my angst. Angst. I can't believe they translated that. It's funny. If I could somehow get past it, everything else would sort itself out, I think. I wasn't certain at all. My shoulders drooped even lower.
まあ、とりあえずは休憩としましょうか。
I'm surprised we haven't seen Cardia at all yet.
賛成。まだ時間に余裕あるし、最悪バンやドラちゃんが来てから手伝ってもらえばいいでしょ。
なあ、あいつらはもうじきロンドンに戻るんだったか。
うん。バンたちはその予定だけど、それ以外だと。
As for just then, Germain hurriedly takes a step forward before Victor can finish his sentence. Oh.
そうでした。ルパン、あなたに一つしてもらいたいことがありまして。
Victor seemed consternated at having been cut off. I cocked my head quizzically. I hope I said that right.
してもらいたいこと？
クリスマスパーティー用の食材を買い足していただきたいのです。そうでしたね、インピ？
そうだった。ちょっと待っててちょうだいな。今リスト作っちゃうからさ。
Impy jotted down the list with such speed that it was thrust into my face before he had finished speaking. I glanced over the shopping list of Impys and chuckled sardonically, nodding at him.
そうだな。わかった。行ってきてやるよ。ここでぼーっとしてるよりは買い出しの方が役に立てそうだしな。
And with that, Lupin made his way wearily out of the mansion.
伯爵？
Victor fixed Saint Germain with a questioning look.
本当にまだルパンに知らせなくていいんですか？知ればルパンだって調子を取り戻したかもしれないし、そもそもこのままだと。
正直、私としても心苦しくはあります。ですが、このままの状態でずるずると行くのも互いのためにならない。
You can at least tell us, the readers, right? What are you talking about?
ならば、少々恨まれることになっても、荒領事というものが必要でしょ。
さすがはクリスマスマーケット。思った以上の人手だな、こりゃ。
Grumbling about what a bother it is to shove through throngs of market goers, I steadily make my way forward. A vast sea of boisterous humanity surrounds me, making merry. The location where the market proper was being held is especially resplendent. Catching snatches of lively conversation as they ebb and flow all around me, it gives me the impression of a festival grounds. The thing is, figuring out the real reason Saint Germain and Impy sent me off on this errand, child's play. They just want me to step out of the house and into the city, refresh myself.
たく、さんはともかくインピーのくせにまた余計な気を使わせちまったな。
As I survey this scene with a sigh, all manner of people hove into view, young and old alike. Couples arm in arm, rambunctious children watched over by their parents, groups of friends engaging in animated conversation. And it wasn't just people, every building was decorated, each market tent seemingly a different color. The very air seemed somehow Christmassy. I craned my head in all directions, yet nowhere do I fail to see glittering lights.
ここの混み合い方もあれだな。ある意味、泥棒の訓練になりそうだ。
Skillfully darting this way and that through the gaps in the buzzing crowd, say, ideal practice for a thief's artless skills of disappearance. Say, maybe if we can find the time, I could have Cardia try her hand at... Still not there. I sighed heavily and put on deliberate stop to that dead-end train of thought.
重傷だ。気がついたらほんと、あいつのことばっかりじゃねえか。
My mood is on a sharply descending curve in marked contrast to the jolly atmosphere. No matter how much I pine and daydream about how lovely it would be to stroll through the streets together, I have the sinking feeling such fantasies will never become reality. It's been a while since you visited London. Why not take advantage of the Christmas holidays and come? I wonder if she didn't reply. A full calendar month has passed since I posted that letter. Regrettably, Cardia's response, which had now acquired an almost totemic significance, never materialized. Neither did a reply to the duplicate letter I sent in case of an unforeseen accident.
せめて一言くらい返事が来るかと思ってたんだけどな。
Even as recently as last month, Cardia's replies came as regularly as you please. Why now of all times to suddenly grow silent?
ひょっとして嫌われたってことはねえよな。
I shoved the distressing notion aside, forcefully extricating it from my thoughts. Extracizing. What? Extricating? Maybe. I don't know. While living together amongst our friends, we came to know one another very well. Now, I can say without ego, the worst she might possibly harbor for me would be a sort of respect, not distaste. Assuming that instinct is correct, other possibilities might conceivably include... I met someone, I met a man. We've already begun to plan our wedding. It would be so ever lovely if you could join us.
いやそんなことあるわけ
My outburst prompts more than one alarmed glance from passerby, but the baleful looks hardly register. Not a one among them would deny that Cardia herself comprises our merry gang's finest treasure. Neither can I deny that suitors would line the high street to woo her. Even so, I refuse to believe that one of these hypothetical suitors would be able to best me in winning her over. I know, right? Yet this malignant hypothesis that she had found someone is unshakable. If she decided to be with someone else from our crew, I might be able to bear it, heart-rending though it may be. But canoodling with some random curlish low-born lout of the street.
絶対に許せっての
随分と賑やかだね、泥棒紳士。
It's funny. I know, into the spirit of the season.
それにこうもあっさり私の接近を許すとは、いくら街中が浮かれているとはいえ、油断しすぎではないかな。
なんだてめえか、ヘボ探偵。
I turned around to regard the great detective, wearing, as always, an inscrutable, composed smile. Not my favorite face in the world, perhaps. But at that moment, I was glad of anything that would take my mind off the track it was spiraling into, I think. I brushed Holmes' slightly too genial hand off my shoulder.
なんの用だよ。今日は別にお前に捕まるようなことはしてねえぞ。
Today.
ああ、分かっているとも。これはほんの挨拶だよ。
私も今日は非番だからね。仮に逮捕の依頼があったとしても、今ここで君を捕まえはしないさ。
だったら勝負はまた今度だ。今日は買い物があるんでな。またな。
いや、待ちたまえ。そうせかなくてもいいだろう。
I attempt to summon officious air and hustle past the man, but it was no use. The not all that immature sleuth was too sharp for his own good.
やはり今日の君は様子がおかしいね。普段の自信やスマートさが見る影もない。
Yeah, you all figured out.
好きだらけだし、注意力も散漫だ。10分ほど尾行していたが、その間全く気づく様子がなかった。
お前、実は暇なんだろ
先ほども普段の君ならとっくに気配を感じ取っていただろうに、正直驚いているよ。
う。うるせえ。あえて気づいてないふりをしてただけかもしれねえだろ。
The sulkiness of my own voice surprised me, but Sholmes merely crossed his arms and averted his eyes as if deep in thought. Quickly returning his piercing gaze to mine, the detective made a statement I was certain I had already heard once today.
君のらしくない行動の理由、私が推察するに、原因はカルディア君のことだね。
Even he knows. First Saint Germain, now him? So when did I start becoming so easy to read?
なんでわかったんだよ。またお得意の推理ってやつか。
尾行していたと言っただろう。その時に君は何かにつけて誰かを探す仕草を見せていた。
Not to mention you've been like blurting out loud.
あとは消去法だよ。つまり、
ああ、わかったわかった。それ以上言わなくていいっての。
Sholmes was aware of my teacher-student relationship with Cardia, so it was no great logical leap for him to make. But still being told precisely what my problem was by yet another person only underlying my restlessness further.
まあ彼女の事情については私は詳しくないし詮索する気もないが、君に覇気がないとこちらも張り合いがない。私でよければ知恵を貸すよ。
いや、名探偵様の力を借りるようなことじゃねえよ。ちょっと連絡が取れてないってだけだ。
おい相棒、やっと見つけたぜ。勝手にどっか行きやがってこの野郎。とっとと買い出し済ませて事務所に戻るぞ。年末は大掃除って前も言っただろうが。
The voice called out from afar, effectively bringing the conversation to a close. It was a tall man I didn't recognize, waving his arms from some distance away. Watson.
呼ばれてるぜ、ショルメ。知り合いじゃねえのか。
ああ、彼もまた大事な友人さ。
Finally, apologetically, Sholmes turns and moves to walk up towards his companion, but leaves me with one last bone mop before doing so.
職業柄いろいろな犯罪者や被害者を見てきた私だが、今の君は泥棒側というよりもむしろ被害者側のような顔をしているね。
どういう意味だそれ。
大切なものを盗まれてしまって途方に暮れる被害者のような顔さ。
Sholmes chuckles dryly, pointing his finger directly at me.
ここで普通の被害者ならば探偵にでも奪還を依頼するだろうが、君はそうではないだろう。
Sholmes finally walks away, without looking back, however.
君には被害者の立場よりも泥棒側に立ってもらわないと探偵としては張り合いがない。この後一体どう動いてみせるのか興味深く拝見させてもらうとしよう。
I know that Now that Alistair's gone, you need someone to hunt, right? Because I think he's gone.
何が拝見させてもらうとしようだ。
Watching the great detective melt into the crowd, I resentfully spat back his words. Frankly, it was all I could do with him. Why? Because he had arrived at the truth of it, no matter how much his manner rubbed me the wrong way.
ああ、そうだよ。あいつがいないってだけで、俺はこんなにも落ち着かなくなっちまう。まるで大事なものを盗まれちまったみたいに。
How pathetic, how miserable, to be admonished by Sholmes, my arch nemesis. Elegant gentleman thief indeed.
ああ、くそ！自覚すればするほど自分に腹が立ってきたぜ。手紙を出してただ返事を待つなんて、この泥棒紳士らしくもねえ。
I stare at my hands. These hands. With these hands I stole her away, the beautiful girl who believed she was a monster. Of course she never was a monster, only a girl I let slip through my fingers to walk her own path. But that was the past. No longer is she the key to some unspeakable terror or the monstrous bear of a deadly poison. Now, for completely different reasons entirely, I'm...
あいつを盗み出す。
I knew he was going to say that. I still can't fathom why Cardia hasn't replied to my letters, but whatever her reasons may be, how could the world's greatest thief possibly shirk away from reclaiming the finest prize he ever had won? I'm making this my second chance. That day, that terrible day, seeing her off to Wales, unable to stop her. I will not let that happen again.
待ってろよ、カルディア。
Yay, we finally get Cardia's perspective. Far, far west of London, our home stands in stately silence. The steep within the forest country of Wales, even horse-drawn carriages can be a rare sight, to say nothing of trains.
姉さん
I don't know why every time the person talks for the first time it's a question mark. Like, we know who it is. When last I left this place, more than a decade of neglect had lent our family estate the aura of a ruin. Though far from complete, we did manage to finish the most pressing repairs prior to winter's full force arrival. Indeed, since Venice and I have returned, the old house has been undergoing quite a transformation.
ねえちょっと姉さんってば聞こえてないの姉さん
Hmm? Oh, I'm sorry, Venice. What's going on?
どうしたもこうしたも人に暖炉の火をつけさせといてなんでわざわざ寒い窓際にいるわけそんなところにいるぐらいならさっさとこっちで火に当たってよ
Worried about me catching a cold, hmm?
はあ見当外れもいいとこだね僕はただ単に自分の努力を無駄にされたくないだけだよ
Completely at odds with his statement, Venice sidles up beside me and the two of us gaze out into the wintry night. Warmed by his place at the fire, my younger brother's presence was welcome and cozy.
というか外に何かあったのウサギでもいた
No, there's nothing. It's nothing like that. All that lies beyond the window is the dim line of the forest edge and the unchanging canopy of night that hangs overhead. Even so, I can't stop staring. I felt as though I should be watching for something, a little wonder. Today is Christmas Eve, after all. When I went down to the shop in town yesterday, all the stores were decorated and brightly lit. Everyone seemed so excited. But the house my brother and I occupied remained unchanged, quiet, even dour. Nothing here even hints at the fact that the holiest of days is fast approaching. If I had to make a note of some small difference, I suppose our dinner was slightly more extravagant than usual. My skills in the kitchen aren't yet what they should be, but my homemade Christmas pudding was good, I hope. I was just thinking that the sky looks so beautiful, and the stars are out. It really does feel like Christmas. It's astonishing how many more stars are visible away from the London glare. My thoughts turned to the families all across England who were gazing up at the same sky at this very moment. Being able to share this evening with my only family brought me happiness. A small happiness, perhaps, but it was my own. However,
姉さん、火に当たらないならさ、そろそろベッドに入ったら。昨日だって、ほら、プディングのレシピ調べてて、ただでさえろくに寝てないんだし。
I wonder if she never got the letters. I think I remember this. I think I remember Lupin swooping in on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day or something like that through her window. I suppose you're right. I should get some sleep. Good night, Finis.
おやすみ。
Finis returned to his spot by the fire as I turned towards my own chambers. How long have I been lying here? Waiting what seemed like an eternity for sleep's sweet embrace, I lay atop my chilly winter's bed regarding the ceiling in silence. I do wish I had been able to make it to London. Innermost thoughts came pouring out in a rush, perhaps because I was feeling quite acutely lonely, alone. I cannot help but wonder how the friends I left behind in London might be spending the evening. The electric hustle and bustle of the city actually felt nostalgic to me now. Closing my eyes, I let memory take me back. Citywide Christmas gala to be held in the commemoration of London's swift recovery. I began thinking about visiting London for Christmas immediately upon reading that article. But for no reason I could discern, none of the letters I sent to Saint Germain's manse, asking if I might stay there, were answered. But something happened. Perhaps they were all away elsewhere. Certain a reply would arrive sooner than later, I waited and waited. But to no avail, no reply ever came, and now the day was upon us. Unanswered letters. I suppose they must all be spending Christmas out of town. It's not as though I need a reason as specific as Christmas to pay my friends at St. Germain's a visit. New Year's is just around the corner, too. Really, there are any number of excuses I could use to visit London. Or so I try to tell myself. It does no good. I genuinely want to spend this, of all days, together with my friends. The loneliness and melancholy that had welled up in my chest now threatened to engulf my entire body. Indeed, I had felt loneliness like this before. I experienced it before, boarding the train out of London, desperately squelching my emotions lest I worry my friends. But even worse, it recalled the long years I had lived alone in this mansion before meeting Lupin. It was acutely reminded of nothing less than the excruciating loneliness of being unable to share physical contact.
美しいご令嬢を悲しませるのは趣味じゃない。お前からハートを盗む代わりに、一つだけ、お前の願いを叶えてやるよ。
A wish?
ええ、そうですとも。お嬢さん、このしがない泥棒が必ずや真実の言葉を持ってあなたの願いを叶えてみせましょう。
My wish. The wish I asked him that night. Even now, with a lifetime's worth of drama behind us, I believe it remains firm. I want to see you. I want to touch you. The desire I kept so carefully locked away within my heart had burst forth. My bedchamber was oddly silent. All I could hear was the sound of my own voice and the faint whisper on my breath. Lulled by the gentle susurrus, I feel my eyes growing heavy. Me? Hear me.
私の声が聞こえますか？美しいお嬢さん。
The faintest of voices rouses me from my slumber. The voice is somehow nostalgic, its owner clearly taking pains to not unduly disturb the calm of this holy night. Just then I noticed a light rapping on the window. Following the barely audible voice, I gently opened my eyes to find I forgot he dressed up as Santa. And he dressed up Cece. What? Caught betwixt dreams and reality, I feel as though the wind has been knocked out of me. Could it have been a sudden gust of cold wind through the open window? Or perhaps something unrelated to meteorology entirely? Somehow my trembling lips uttered the name. Lupin? Alighting elegantly on the pristine carpet of freshly fallen snow, accompanied by an adorable reindeer clad in a festive red and white ensemble, he bows deeply and courteously.
お休み中のところ失礼いたします。美しいお嬢さん。私めはしがないサンタクロース。
That was the most adorable statement ever. The way he said it so politely too. Oh my goodness.
今宵はあなたのハートを奪いにではなく、あなたに笑顔をプレゼントするため、トナカイと共に参上いたしました。
Scrutinizing Lupin a bit closer, I realized his entire demeanor had changed. Flashing a rakish, confident smile, he looked every inch the Santa Claus he claimed to be. Cece, cradled in Santa's arms, wore equally festive garb.
驚きすぎて声も出ねえってか？結構準備した甲斐があるってもんだ。
Is that really you, Lupin? He's supposed to be in London. How could he possibly be here? This has to be some sort of fever dream brought on by thinking about him so much. I have to feel him. Check to see if he's warm. I reach out my hand, he takes it in his. Once again, he speaks his name.
そう、私の名はアルセーヌ・ルパン。かつてあなたを盗み出した世界一の大泥棒。だが今日はお前だけのサンタってわけだ。今回は何と言ってもクリスマスだからな。
I stare dumbfounded, eventually regaining my composure after several moments pass. I know, he's so adorable. Everything he says makes me giggle. Wells of emotion spring up in my heart, gushing out in a torrent. Everything about this feels more outlandish than the most bizarre dream I can ever remember having. There's no possible way he could know what I was thinking as I fell asleep. Yet even so, here he was, ready to grant my wish. Here, to see me. Surprise, joy, passion, even sadness and pain. My chest fairly bursting with every emotion I can name and then some. I was only able to manage 4 simple words. I missed you, Lupin.
俺もだよ。メリークリスマス、カルディア。
Short while later, after changing back into a more familiar garb and relieving Cece of his reindeer getup, Lupin apologizes for his sudden visit. But it was adorable, though. It doesn't matter what time of day it was. If he shows up as Santa Claus, I mean, it's forgiven, right? Seemingly relieved to be free of his Yuletide trapping, Cece clambers beside me and rests his head atop my bed. His great masses of fluffy fur brought back memories so pleasant I found it quite impossible to keep my paws off him. No pun intended. You really did startle me, you know. I never imagined you would come all the way out here. And you're only just back in France. I was sure you'd still be busy.
んなことはねえよ。ここ最近はクリスマスの準備とかで少し慌ただしかったのはあるけどな。あの鋼鉄の街が聖夜に彩られる様。できれば本物を見せてやりたかったが、さすがの俺もロンドン丸ごとは運べね
Oh, would a city be that impossible to steal?
え。だから今日は少しでもその雰囲気を届けにサンタの格好をしてきたってわけだ。お気に召していただけましたか？美しいお嬢さん。
They were. Thank you, Mr. Claus. It was a lovely Christmas gift. Mademoiselle. The word resonated within me even more deliciously than usual. Was it perhaps because I hadn't heard it in so long? I know, right? Feeling flushed and a bit warm, I sit back down on the bed and study Lupin's face.
ま、とはいえ、プレゼントってのは口実の一つだ。本当はお前のことが心配でな。手紙の返事もなかったから何かあったんじゃないかって思ったが、元気そうでほっとしたぜ。
Dark places. What? Had I misheard something? What Lupin had said made so little sense I stopped him mid-sentence. Hold on, Lupin. What do you mean that you never received my replies?
言葉通りだよ。俺の送った手紙に返事返してくれなかっただろ。そっちも忙しかったんだろうが、正直言うと結構寂しかったんだぜ。
Lupin laughs the statement off with his typical joking manner. Was he trying to be considerate? In any case, I knit my brow in frustration, trying to think of how to phrase what I had to say next. There haven't been any. Letters, Lupin. I haven't received a single letter from you in over a month.
はあ?
I also sent several letters to the mansion asking if I could come stay with you all over Christmas. Nobody wrote back, so I just assumed you were all going somewhere else for the holidays.
待て待て待て。お前からの手紙なんて俺の方にも一通も届いてねえぞ。
What in the world? Really, something was not adding up. Baffled, we can do a little but gape at one another in quizzical silence. But then, from the hallway...
姉さん大変だ。庭の警報装置が解除されてる。
I wonder.
またヘンゼルのバカか誰かが勝手に入ってきたかもしれな。
よー、フィーニス。久しぶりじゃねえか。お姉ちゃん子なのは変わらねえな。
シシーにルパン。
Cece leapt on Finis while Lupin gave a jaunty, if unapologetic, wave. Apparently insisted by the entire state of affairs, Finis glared at Lupin with all his might.
はあ、久しぶりだね、泥棒紳士。でもこんな夜更けに訪ねてくるなんて、自称紳士には常識ってものがないわけ。
I know, very ungentlemanly like of you to enter a woman's bedroom late at night.
あいにくと、今日の俺は泥棒兼サンタでな。サンタが昼間っから入ってきても風情ってもんがねえだろ。
I know, right?
くそ、来るって分かってたら、もっと死ねる罠にしとけばよかった。
Finis mutters on about increasingly frightening things, which I do my utmost to block out. At any rate, I decide to make use of the opportunity, casually bringing up the topic that had been vexing me all evening. Oh, not to change the topic, Finis, but there is something I'd like to ask you about.
はあ、何？僕はこのコソ泥をどう叩き出すか考えるので忙し。
It's about some letters that may have come for me recently. I don't suppose you've seen anything like that lying around. He knew it. They've been intercepting letters. Finis froze. Letters that Lupin posted to me must have arrived here at the house, but tending to the post box outside is one of Finis's responsibilities, since we split all the housework. And so, since I was unaware of them, that makes Finis the only other person who might have been. Finis remained deathly still for a moment, clearly choosing his next words carefully. Both Lupin and I waited with bated breath until finally.
黒柳さんが食べたんじゃない？
No.
斜め上の言い訳してるんじゃねえ。てめえ、なんか知ってるな。吐け。全部吐きやがれ。
What are you, 12? After some back and forth in the same vein, Finis, seeming the worse for wear from our interrogation, produces a bundle of letters and hands them over with a withering look. Even the most conservative estimation I could muster easily placed their numbers at over 100. Goodness. So you kept letters addressed to me locked in your room, is that it? I knew my expression was harsh, perhaps even menacing. Venice refused to meet my gaze, muttering under his breath.
そうだけど。一応言っとくと、ルパンからの手紙を止めたのはわざとじゃない。
Meaning?
ん
Was it that face?
待て。というかこの手紙の山、ほとんど全部インピーからじゃねえか。
According to Finis, he had dutifully passed on each and every letter with my name on it during our early days at the house. But after continuing with an absurd number of MP's letters each week, my brother became disgusted with the entire process. Apparently carrying them to my room had become such an ordeal that it was easier to stockpile them for bulk delivery. Not realizing Lupin's entirely sane number of letters had been mixed in among MP's, they had simply been lost in the shuffle.
だから、そんな手紙がこの中に含まれてたとは知らなかった。悪かったよ。
To see Finis deliver an honest apology was a rare thing. He must feel a genuine remorse for what happened. Finis's frankness seemed to quell even Lupin's spite, as he now wore an expression I recognized as meaning no harm, no foul.
正直文句の一つも言ってやりてえ気分ではあるが。
I know, I thought he was doing it on purpose too.
そもそもうちの天才技師が原因の一端だったとはね。今度ほどほどにするように言っとくわ。
You can just go take it out on MP later. Right. MP's letters are certainly appreciated, but I will remember to gently remind him that less can often be more. At any rate, sifting through the mountain of missives did reveal a few letters from Lupin and our other friends as well. I'll be sure to write proper replies later.
これで届かなかった手紙の謎は解けたな。たく、焦ったぜ。
Wait, but what about the letters I sent? Why weren't they delivered?
悪いけどそっちは知らないね。不本意ながら姉さんからの手紙は全部出しておいたはずだけど。
Venice looked too authentically befuddled to be lying. There would also be no point in continuing to hide anything, which means the two cases are unconnected, and yet they could have been lost en route, or maybe delivered to the wrong address.
仮にも貴族の屋敷に当てたものだよ。配達ミスや紛失は考えづらいね。
But then, where did they go? This and I had come up with nothing fast, but Lupin appears to hit on something. He shuts his eyes, muttering quietly to himself.
なるほど。読めてきたぜ。
Hmm? Is that a flash of Lupin insight?
まあ、な。ただ、それを確認しようと思ったら、少しばかり出かける必要がありそうだ。
And with that, Lupin takes my hand in his, pulling me close to his body. His grip is firm, his strength feels appropriate to rid ourselves of the day's deeply vexing misunderstandings.
美しいお嬢さん。どうか、この私めと一緒に、懐かしき気候都市へ来てはいただけませんか？
To London, now?
おうよ。言っとくが、拒否権はねえぞ。何しろ俺はサンタじゃなく泥棒だからな。狙った獲物は逃がさねえ。
You can't refuse me.
さっきまでは泥棒じゃなくサンタとか言ってたくせに。
He switched modes.
つーか、俺はお前をロンドンに呼びたかった。で、お前の方もロンドンに行きたかった。それなら遠慮することはねえだろ。今日はイブ、明日が本当のクリスマスだからな。
Lupin is right. I would probably be in London right now if the bizarre mail mix-up hadn't occurred. But if I do go, this house...
はあ、別に言ってくれば。その方が僕もうるさくなくていいし。
You make it sound like I'm always making a racket or...
実際そうでしょ。だって姉さん、最近は暇があればずっとロンドンの話ばかりしてるし。はあ、いやむしろアルセーヌ・ルパンの話ばかりか。
へえ。
今日だって熱を込めてルパンはルパンをルパンがとか何回言ってたことか。
Sickeningly wistful.
ほうほう。
Way to boost his ego. Stop it, Finis. And you too, Lupin. Don't grin like that. It was a vile brew of truth mixed with outright lies, and oh, who do I think I'm fooling? Finis has about 80% right. Hearing my younger brother speak so brazenly and openly about things I had yet to even realize brings it on an instant blush. Oh, flush. I try to cover Lupin's ears, which only serves to increase the amount of fun he seems to be having and broaden his grin.
とま、そういうわけだからさ。せいぜい姉さんを楽しませてきなよ。
He's pretty accepting of Lupin. Saint Germain, on the other hand. With that, Finis abruptly turns his back on us and moves to leave the room. Before he can make it out the door, I dash forward and grasp his shoulder firmly. No, Finis, if I'm going, you're coming with me.
はあ?
The original plan was always to bring you up to London with me. Remember what we talked about. I want you to speak with my friends, laugh and smile with them, learn about everything you can. So, shall we, Finis?
姉さんさ、空気読めないってよく言われない？人が珍しく気を利かせてやったのに。
I know, right? Tried to give you some alone time with him.
やめとけやめとけフィニス。こいつが頑固なのは弟のお前だってよく知ってるだろ。このレディーがお前もって望むなら叶えてやるのが泥棒紳士ってもんだ。そういうわけでこっちは二人一緒にさらっていくつもりだぜ。手荒にされたくなきゃおとなしく従いな。
Kidnap both of you.
わかったよ。暇つぶしにはなりそうだからね。
Finis's words were as barbed as ever, but for once he was wearing the ghost of a smile and I couldn't help but return it. Lupin, it's lovely that we're off to London, but how exactly are we going to get there? There are no trains that leave this late, but if we wait until morning, who knows when they'll even be in service.
そこは心配ご無用。この泥棒紳士に任せときな。
Did he bring the ornithopter? Or a blimp? The airship? It turned out to be something I could have figured out if I'd only thought for a moment. How did Lupin seem to materialize out of ether on a Welsh roof in the dead of night? It was too late for any trains to be running, so there could only be one answer. Only a scant few hours had passed in sleeping Wales. By the time the winter sun had dimly begun to rise, cresting thick curtains of cloud. Yep, the ornithopter Lupin had allegedly borrowed from Impy was already soaring above the city of London. My goodness, the entire city looks like it was spun from silver. The ornithopter wings dispersing London's ever-present plumes of steam, the full expanse of the city hubs into view. Just then I was struck by the full weight of how long it had been since I actually saw London from the air. Spreading out beneath me, glimmering in the dignified coat of snow, touched by faint sunlight, my second home, the Steel City.
ああ、こいつは絶景だな。昨日出かけるときはまだ降り始めだったんだが、一晩でここまで積もるとは。
It feels so odd to see it like this. It feels like I've come to some other city entirely. It appears that even the brutish city of steel and steam lets her hair down for the holidays, just in a white gown to boot. The flickering lights of red and gold I see here and there must have been put up just for this Christmas. But if they're this beautiful from high up, what must they look like at street level?
おいシシ、暴れるなよ、狭いんだから。
オートモービルが使えりゃここまで狭苦しくはなかったんだが、さすがに雪道を運転ってのは安全にたどり着けるか怪しかったんでな。
雪道の安全云々って言うなら、このオーニソプターだって間違いなく危ないと思うけど。
He's not wrong. I started whipping around in circles when we flew through that blizzard.
まああれだ、無事つけたんだからいいじゃねえか。
Any further protests would have been useless anyway. The buzz of flapping wings drowned out all the sound as we arc downwards. I'm only minutes away from stepping out of the city so lively that it practically vibrates, and the thought is exhilarating. Later, in the middle-class area of London through which the city's primary artery for traffic meandered.
いつも以上に人が多いな。復興を終えたばかりだと聞いていたが。まあ何にせよ、活気があるに越したことはないか。
Van Helsing had not been back to the city in quite some time. He studied his environs intently, quietly taking verbal notes. Many noticed a sudden drop in temperature last night, but who could have imagined snowbanks so deep in London, England? Passersby breathed out puffs of air that appeared only whitish compared to the immaculate purity of the fresh snow. The morning had already played host to more children tumbling in the snow and their worried parents than could have been counted.
見ろ、一面の銀世界だぞ。貴様も早くこっちに。
ここにも子供が一人いたな。
なんだその笑みは。世が転んだのがそんなにおかしいか。
And that was how I found myself reunited with the two very familiar faces. Less than 5 minutes after landing the ornithopter, familiar faces indeed. Oh my, Van Helsing, Delhi.
おお、カルディアにルパンではないか。
よう二人とも久しぶりだな。ひょっとして今帰ってきたとこか？
You guys forgot one. What about Finnis?
いや、私とドラクロワは昨夜のうちからロンドンに戻っていた。そちらはウェールズに彼女を迎えに行ったと聞いていたが、無事に戻ってこられたようだな。
Not a scratch. We quite literally just got in, and when I say we, I brought Finnis along for the holiday too, but... He flew the ornithopter back alone so that we could have a leisurely stroll and see the sights. What's more, he even took Cece. Does he even know how to operate it?
あのフィーニスがか？やつも変わったな。本当につきものが落ちたようだ。
That's funny. The same might be said of you. I suspect that part of the reason that Finnis is being so consensuous stems from guilt over the letter affair, but still. The look in Van Helsing's eyes as he spoke of Finnis filled me with relief. I sighed knowing he was no longer hated or feared.
おお、そうだ。ルパンから聞いていると思うが、今夜は屋敷でパーティーをするそうだ。ヨとヘルシングも食材の買い出し中でな。インピが腕を振るうと言っていたから、楽しみに待っているがいいぞ。
I'll try. It's been ages since I've had Impy's cooking. I'm very excited.
インピ以外に伯爵とフランも屋敷に来ている。久々に一味が揃うことになるな。
こいつは賑やかなことになりそうだ。今のうちに覚悟しとかねえと。
シシーと会うのも久々だ。世 の顔を忘れていなければいいが。
As we engage in these casual conversations, my circumstances take on a stronger sense of reality. I really had come back to this city, of which I am so fond, the city of a million memories. I really was going to spend Christmas Day together with my closest friends. I'm surprised anything's even open right now. It's Christmas Day, right? Much too excited now to quell the thrumming heart, I bashfully turn away.
さて、では我々は取り急ぎ買い出しを済ませねば。行くぞヘルシング。まずはケーキ屋に向かうぞ。
まったく慌ただしい。相変わらず目の離せん主だ。
お前もすっかり保護者が板についてきたな。
主というよりは手間のかかる弟が増えた気分だな。さて、私はドラクロワを追うが、お前たちはゆっくり屋敷に戻るといい。また後で会おう。
With that, Van Helsing sprinted off after Delhi, and it occurred to me that the odd pair truly did seem like brothers now. Promising myself I would make a point of asking them all about their journeys, I tugged softly at Lupin's sleeve. Lupin, we really should be going. Let's have a walk around the city.
承知いたしました。美しいお嬢さん。では、しばしこの私めとクリスマスデートと参りましょう。
Why didn't Saint Germain get a date? He was supposed to go out with her too. Dang it. A date? I am frozen, rooted to the spot. Lupin offers me his hand with a flourish, and I stare at it dumbly. At any other time I would have laughed this off, just Lupin displaying his usual dramatic flair, but...
はあ、いやむしろアルセーヌ・ルパンの話ばかりか。
へえ。
今日だって熱を込めてルパンはルパンをルパンがとか何回言ってたことか。
This was all Phineas's fault. If he hadn't said those things in front of Lupin, I wouldn't be so dreadfully self-conscious. What exactly are Lupin's intentions with this date? Any number of possibilities roll through my head and I cannot calm down. It's fine. He just wants to go out with you.
まあ、デートかは置いといて、普通に手はつないだ方が良さそうだ。
Start off small.
なんせこの人手だし、うっかりはぐれようものなら大変なことになっちまうしな。
Rationalize it. Lupin gestured towards the high street, packed with more revelers than I could ever remember having seen on a London road. The teeming multitudes practically formed walls. Indeed, the only way to tell shops apart was to force our way inside them. Lupin had one thing right. If we did happen to get separated, our chances of finding one another again would be slim. True. Well, alright. This isn't a date, I tell myself. Not yet, anyway. Gingerly, I take his hand in mine, and immediately the warmth of his palm causes my own cheeks to grow hot. His gentlest grip will chastity and courteous, the grip of an escort or chaperone. Somehow it was lacking. Oh, really? Or else, I somehow missed an opportunity here. Ruminating on this most bewildering feeling, I follow Lupin as he tugs my hand. The beneficent city of London, festooned with the trappings of Christmas. Seeing it from the sky was striking. To actually walk amongst the splendor is a completely different, more direct experience. I've been down these streets countless times, but painted in the holiday hues, they feel fresh and new. Joyous music resounds all across the city, and holiday hymns seem to echo from every corner and crossing. The steel city never wants for liveliness, but today is on another level entirely. This is incredible. It's like being inside a dream. With such tremendous sights all about, the words out of my mouth are trite, banal. They are apparently all I can manage. There were Christmas decorations in Wales as well, but they can't hold a stub of a candle to all this.
ああ、見事なもんだ。さすが英国の首都、女王陛下のお膝元ってな。ほら、見てみろよ、あのパティスリー。サンタの人形が飾ってあるぜ。
My goodness, it's dancing? I wonder if it's steam powered.
こいつは一日歩き続けても全部を見るのは難しそうだな。
A cacophony of music, laughter, and shouts of joy ring out from all directions, underscoring Lupin's words. As we continue to walk, the celebratory mood permeating the streets grows stronger. It feels as though the entire city is raising its collective voice in glorification of this once-a-year event.
よってらっしゃい、見てらっしゃい。今日の食卓に七面鳥は欠かせないよ。ママ、こ
っちこっち。トナカイさんの人形が売ってる。
こーら、あまり離れないで。はぐれちゃったら大変でしょ。
セールで安くなってる。でも持ち合わせが。
どうぞどうぞ、見ていってください。異国から特別に仕入れた一点物です。おや、こちらの品などお似合いでは？
Quickly walking around window shopping and people watching with Lupin is thrilling. This multitude this massive people smiling and laughing in the city my father built. In the grand scheme of things, barely a blink of an eye has passed since the disaster that wiped out half of London. The reconstructed cityscape. The citizenry wandering hither and yon, beaming smiles on their faces. The words of this game is like so proper and formal sometimes and long. It's just... It takes me so long to read it. It's only this game. It's only Code Realize and the fan discs at that. Like the first one I had no problem reading. Now they're throwing French words in here whenever the Japanese is clearly not speaking any French or anything like that. All as vibrant as they were before, if not even more so.
今日が祭りってのもあるんだろうが、たくましいもんだな、人ってのは。
I actually think Lupin's is even more heavily coated with this phrasing and words than any other of the characters I've read so far. It's true, just looking at all of this, it's patently obvious how strong the city is. We continue to chat about this and that until Lupin suddenly quiets, squinting in the direction of the city. Just as abruptly he slows his pace. And in that instant, I was about to ask him what was wrong. What? Half a heartbeat in the distance between Lupin and I closes to nil. With his face so close, I can feel his body heat. He suddenly pulls me into an embrace. Holding my hand to draw me even closer, he whispers,
Cardia.
Lupin, what do you think you're...
走るぞ。
Is it his friends? Are you running from them? What? Lupin's movements were infinitely faster than my ability to process what he was saying. Eek! Still holding me fast, he takes off like a shot. Lupin dashes expertly through the crowd, avoiding collisions entirely. Without slowing, he turns sharply into a narrow alley. Hey, Lupin.
話は後だ。変な因縁ふっかけられねえうちに。
Is it Sholmes?
以前とは違ってすっかり鋭さを取り戻したようだが。
He didn't want Sholmes' 2 cents on this.
今度は脇目も振らず避けられるとは、さすがに少しばかり傷ついてしまうね。
Hey, he's back to his normal self, right? Oh, Sholmes.
こんにちは、カルディア君。ロンドンへ戻ってきていたんだね。
The young man who stood in our way was none other than Lupin's self-proclaimed arch-enemy.
くっそ、逃げきれなかったか。んで、今日は何の用だ名探偵。まさか人様のデートの邪魔をしに来たとは言わねえよな。
もちろんだとも。今回こそたまたま近くを通りがかっただけさ。
You happened by chance, but as soon as Lupin ran, you took off after him.
街中で抱きしめ合うような情熱的な恋人たちの邪魔をしたら馬に蹴られるでは済まないからね。
What? I hastily tried to shift my body away from Lupin, putting distance between us. But rather than letting go, Lupin only pulls me closer to him. I can't feel his body heat directly because of my bulky winter clothes, but I can certainly feel his arms enveloping me. My pulse quickens and I struggle to remain calm.
仲睦まじいようで何より。では私も少々騒がしい相棒と一緒にこの日を満喫しに行くとしよう。
Perhaps he really did just stop us to say hello. In any case, Sholmes flashes us one last smile and turns to walk away. But before he could dissolve into the crowd, Lupin abruptly yells after him.
おい、平母探偵。
ん？
収まりが悪いから一応言っとくぜ。ありがとよ。
It was perhaps the most un-Lupin-like thing I'd ever heard him say. Both Sholmes and I were identical expressions of surprise. Lupin just thanked Sholmes.
これは素直に驚いたな。君の口からそんな言葉を聞く日が来ようとは。
お前は確かにいけすかねえが、だからって礼節を忘れるようじゃ紳士は名乗れねえ。泥棒が探偵に礼を言うなんざめったにねえんだ。あの時の礼、ありがたく受け取っときな。
I wonder what might have happened between these two. I can glean no clues from what either of them says, so I'm completely in the dark. And yet, Sholmes seems to understand Lupin's cryptic statement fully. Belting out a laugh that could only be genuine, Sholmes waves and walks away. Quite at odds with the way Lupin typically parts with his archenemy, he makes no fuss and simply sees the detective off. But as for me, Lupin at least releases his grip and I struggle to regain my breath. It's not as if it was the first time Lupin held my hand or even hugged me. So why can't I seem to calm myself down? Why today? Is it because I haven't seen him in a while? Am I just confused? Or maybe...
どうした？疲れたのか？なら早めに屋敷に帰った方が。
No, I'm alright. I was just thinking. I'm still fine to walk, and I do want to see more of the city. I want to see it with you, Lupin.
そうか。けど、辛くなったらちゃんと言えよ。
We strolled through London contentedly, with no particular destination in mind. Heading through seldom used back alleys, leaving footprints in the fresh snow. Wondering at the new and mysterious sensations of snow melting in my hands. Lupin gently escorting me over patches of slippery, covered ice. Making our circuit of the city, it was no surprise that we ran into familiar faces. Oh, she looks adorable in that getup. Named Queen Victoria, supreme ruler of the British Empire, and her royal guardsman Lionheart. She was in the city on official inspection, accompanied by the royal guard.
玉座の上から見えることなんて本当にたかが知れているもの。民がどんな顔をして何を感じているか、やはり直接触れてこそでしょ。
ご立派なお考えです、陛下。とはいえ、さすがに護衛が少ないのでは、せめてこの倍、いえ、3倍程度は。
あら、あなたが身を張って守ってくれるのではなくて？
According to Lionheart, the Queen had been making frequent outings into London proper since the resolution of the terrorist plot. I couldn't say whether or not she had had a change of heart, but today her smile seemed softer than it was when I was last in London. Curiously, a voice I was sure I recognized from someplace echoed forth from the plaza. Oh my gosh.
見る がいい。この科学魂が溢れる垂れ流さんばかりのすんばらしい雪像。
Why are you not in prison? Dang it.
まさにこの一日限りの御社の日にふさわしい科学と芸術の融合。君もそう思わないかね。そこの無言で通り過ぎようとしているどこかで見たマイシスタイル。
Look, I'd rather not have any bizarre rumors spread, so don't call me flower of womanhood, please.
というか、なんかひび入ってねえかそれ。
Cracking?
え
おーい、私の完璧な設計が間違っていたとでも言うのかね。
At once, the structure collapses, causing a momentary panic. Luckily, nobody is injured by the debris, since most of the spectators were giving a bizarrely brave Nemo a wide berth. I know, right? And be that as it may, I'm honestly stunned that he was granted amnesty, even for a single day. I wish he wasn't. He's so annoying. Apparently, however, Nemo is a model prisoner, apart from his widely eccentric mannerisms, of course. I'm sure much of it has to do with the way he chose to let go of the Nautilus during the terrorist incident, but it's still surprised to see the police treating him so gently. No, more concern than surprise, actually. Thank goodness that's over. Jeez. Each familiar local and phase makes me think of the same thing. I really do have so many wonderful memories of living in the city. And one of them happens to be right here. Men in suits scrambling about the banks of the River Thames.
お嬢、どこに行ったんですか？お嬢！
落ち着け、耳をすませ。虐げられるパッシーの悲鳴が目印だ。
くそ、早くしねえとボスが涙を流しすぎて干からびちまう。
The Gordon family men, surprisingly warm chaps for being mafia, race about frantically in absolute panic. It is true what they say, some things never change.
つーか、あそこのお嬢さん、また一人で遊びに出ちまったのか？
The daughter run away again. Looks like it. If we can, I'd love to see Shirley as well. I didn't read that story in the last game, so I don't have any back history about that family. I have to at least say hello before going home to Wales.
帰るか。
Lupin?
なあ、カルディア。お前は
After softly repeating the words, Lupin pauses as if to ask something. But what? Before he could finish his thought, he burst abruptly into dry laughter and points behind me.
Cardia! ロンドンに帰ってきてたのね。
I know, he's interrupted. How dare you? Oh, Shirley.
俺もいるっすよ。お久しぶりっす、お二人とも。
おお、そっちも元気そうで何よりだ。むしろ相変わらずつうか。
It was Shirley, daughter of the Gordon family's Dawn, and her bodyguard Passy. My friends, I suppose you'd call them, who I happened to meet during a certain incident. Maybe I should read it, figure out what it was. My face lights up in a spontaneous smile. I didn't expect to see them here.
というか、今日は一味といるわけじゃないのね。
No, Lupin and I are seeing the sights together.
つまりは、デートね。
Right, or wait, what?
クリスマスムードの街中を二人で歩いて見て回ってたわけでしょ。ならそれは間違いなくデートよ。前に買った恋愛マニュアルにもそう書いてあったわ。
ああ、お前にはまだ早い。とか言ってボスが燃やしてたあの本っすね。
The thing about Shirley is she wasn't raised like a normal girl, and it shows a bit sometimes. It's not a date, nothing like that. The way you put it, Lupin is probably more embarrassed than even I am right now.
はあ、勘違いされちゃ困る。
I'm mortified. See, he agreed.
二人で見て回ったんじゃなく、二人で手をつないだり、抱きかかえたりしながら見て回ったわけだしな。
Lupin. It was all the more rude of him to say because technically his words were true. Shirley Passing's eye widened in surprise. Lest they ask questions, I scrambled to change the subject. Say, Shirley, people are looking for you. It seems like almost the entire family. Shirley sighs and shrugs, seeming more than a bit perturbed.
昨日からパーティー続きで疲れちゃってちょうど霧のいいところだから外の空気を吸いに来たのよ。
なあ、パーティーっつうとマフィア関連のやつか？
まあボスも顔が広いっすからね。年末は有力者やら別マフィアやら挨拶尽くしで大変なんすよ。
I see. I suppose a Mafia Don's daughter would be expected to be present at all the holiday parties. I can just see Darius bragging endlessly about Shirley at his events and boring her to tears.
まあそういうことでサボってるのは内緒にしといてね。
まあそもそもサボりって言っても実はボスへのクリスマスプレゼントを探すためで。
バッシー、それは秘密。
The sight of little Shirley whacking past me on the back is really quite adorable. Although Shirley is clearly embarrassed, I share a laugh with Lupin. Echoing my own tactic, she quickly changes the subject.
ああ、そうだ。そういえば、街道沿いの教会にはもう行った？
The church?
行ってないなら一緒に行きましょう。すごいのが飾ってあるらしいから。
We yield the lead to Shirley and follow her down the wide road. An impressive throng of holiday travelers crowded the thoroughfare, making our progress slower than I would have liked. At length we arrive at the site, and come face to face with what can only be the Yuletide spectacle Shirley had been so excited to see. Aw, that's really pretty. Oh my, what a gigantic tree. In the courtyard of the church facing the main road, an imaginably tall pine tree thrusts upwards towards the heavens. Its soaring height alone would have merited wonder, but every branch festooned in glittering golds and sumptuous reds. Elegantly wrought ornaments in the shapes of angels, celestial globes, icicles, and so many more. It was as though the tree itself were fashioned of pure light. It was the only analogy that came close to describing the spectacle.
こいつはまた随分とでかいクリスマスツリーだな。
Christmas tree?
イギリスじゃあまり有名じゃねえが、ヨーロッパの一部、ドイツの方じゃ普通に広まってるクリスマスの象徴でな。
Lupin briefly explains the continental European tradition of elaborately decorating evergreen trees for the season.
発案したのは女王陛下らしいっすよ。せっかくの大きな祭りなんだからこういう文化もいいんじゃないかって。
Victoria, really? It was more than a little heartwarming, not typically a term I associate with the Queen.
なら、ビクトリアに感謝しねえとな。
Our gratitude.
こんな綺麗なもんをお前と一緒に眺める機会をもらえたんだからよ。
You're right. I saddle up slightly closer to Lupin so that we stand shoulder to shoulder. All around us were gaping holiday revelers, stopping dead in their tracks, utterly captivated by the wondrous tree. The gilded-up tree shone so brightly it may as well have been enchanted. I craned my neck and realized that I would have to step well back into the road to see the top of this noble work of art. As the four of us pace around the mighty tree, drinking in its grandeur, Shirley pulls my sleeve and whispers in my ear.
それで、ルパンがあなたの本命なの?
Pardon? My heart literally skipped a beat at this query from nowhere. I made a valiant effort to hide how flustered I was, and almost certainly failed. Where on earth did that come from?
だって、前に一回聞いたでしょ? 5人の中で特別だって思える人はいないのかって。
Surely one of these 5.
あなたはデートじゃないって言うけど、お互い意識してないようにも見えないし。
I did in fact remember her asking me the question, but back then I truly felt that I respected all of my dear friends equally. I had no intention of choosing one in particular, and there was no need to. Now, what about now? I just don't know. I found myself giving Shirley the same answer I had last year. Nothing else came to mind, and I unconsciously screwed my features up in frustration. This is dreadfully embarrassing, but I don't know what else to say. I'm still not quite sure what love really is. Do you know, Shirley?
そりゃ、私だってそういう経験は全然ないわけだけど。一緒にいてドキドキしたり、胸が苦しくなったりする気持ちってよく聞く気はする。
Your pulse races.
そういうのってさ、例えば家族とかただの仲間相手じゃ起こらないものでしょ？だからそういうのを感じたとき、初めて気づくのかもしれない。恋って言葉の意味を。こんなこと言っても、私も物語で読んだくらいで本物の恋なんて知らないんだけどね。
Shirley burst out into a bout of giggles, which I can't help but join in. When our laughter subsides, I glance up at the massive tree. I don't have to go too far down memory lane to consider the situation, with the events being so recent. Holding hands, being held, the gentleman thief calling my name, smiling and laughing. Things I thought nothing of before now makes my cheeks grow hot and set butterflies loose in my stomach. And although I do not have a heart per se, the jewel embedded in my chest is without question pulsating faster. And the man having this queer effect on me.
Cardia?
Oh, what is it?
いや、何ぼーっとしてんだよ。パッシーはもう先行っちまったぞ。ほら、俺たちも行こうぜ。
I nod at him as he urges me along, struggling to keep up with his pace. I lay my hand on my chest as I walk, feeling palpable warmth emanating from the jewel in my chest, even through my winter clothes. The jewel that acts as a proxy for my heart doesn't manifest itself this way with any of my other friends, nor Finis. I can only mean that Lupin is special to me. Saint Germain didn't get near this much attention in his. I felt cheated. Returning back to town after the awe-inspiring sight of the Christmas tree, I helped Shirley choose a gift for her father as thanks for insisting we visit the roadside church. Taking our leave from Shirley and Passe, once again I find myself alone with Lupin. As the sun slips behind the clouds, painting the immaculate snowscape in gentle shades of crimson, we finally decide to bring it into our tour of Yuletide London and begin to head in the direction of the mansion. Soon we will at last be home at St. Germain's mansion, of which I am so fond. Lupin and I chat as we stroll the familiar streets.
今日は一日賑やかだったな。日も落ちかけてる時間だってのに、最後まで人が減る気配もなかったしよ。というか、結構歩いたが、平気か？
Now I'm fine. I haven't been back to London in ages. It was such fun, seeing so many interesting people, the city crackling with energy. And now I get to spend time with Saint Germain, Victor, and Impy. Lupin's gang together once again, sharing a wonderful Christmas together. I must make the most of it. Because on Boxing Day, well, I suppose it'll be back to Wales for me.
どうしたカルディア。やっぱりなんか顔色悪くねえか。そういや以前ほど体力はないだろうっていつだかフランが言ってたな。悪い、つい前の調子で。
No, that's not it. I try to think of a segue into another topic, but it eludes me. I'm just talking to Lupin, the same old Lupin I've known for quite some time now, and yet my chest literally aches. Today's completely casual conversation, walking about the city as we had so many times before, it made me realize something. I am blessed with so many friends with whom I experienced adventures and hardships here in London, precious friends. They were all supposed to be equally precious, men I loved equally, and yet I'm beginning to think that Lupin may not strictly be a friend. What I meant to say is, of course he is. Lupin is a dear friend, but he may also be something more. And now all I can think about is the fact that I want to take whatever this is one step further. Oh really? You should tell him that.
なあ、カルディア。屋敷に入る前にちょっと聞いてくれねえか。
Lupin comes to a halt in front of the grand entrance to Saint Germain's mansion. The timbre of his voice and this is the same as earlier, when it seemed he had something to say before we encountered Shirley. No, in fact, it sounded even more serious.
実はずっとお前に話そうと思ってたことがある。結局言いそびれてここまで来ちまったが、俺は。
What is he about to say? What are the next words out of his mouth going to be? Paralyzed by both desperation to know and trepidation at what I might hear, I could do nothing but hold my breath in the grips of intense anxiety. And then, almost unexpectedly,
まったく、どいつもこいつも。実は俺たちのこと監視してるんじゃねえか？
Huh?
いるのは分かってる。さっさと出てこいよ。
Poor Lupin, he can't catch a break. Confused, I follow Lupin's icy glare, then...
うわ、さすがルパン。この距離で気づかれるなんて。
どうやらすっかり調子が戻ってきたようですね。
Why would you guys ruin it? Dang it. Approaching from behind the blind spot of the main gate, they spoke with none other than Victor and Saint Germain. What about Impy? Both of them were among my best friends in the world. Victor, Saint Germain, it's been ages.
おかえりなさい、カルディアさん。久々のロンドン散策は楽しめましたか？積もる話もあるでしょうが、外は冷えますし、まずは中へどうぞ。
もうパーティーの準備も整ってるよ。あとは2人が来れば全員集合だ。
特に子供たちとインピーが、あなたはまだかと騒いでいますから、早く言ってあげてください。
The children and Impy. Is Victor a child? Yes, of course. What else is he talking about? Van Helsing? Although I answer Saint Germain's words cheerfully enough, I still glance back at Lupin. I'm certain Lupin was about to say something of import to me just now, but... Let's ask him. Truth is, I'm more than a little afraid to ask. I'd be lying if I said a part of me wasn't relieved when Lupin was interrupted. However, I found the prospect of never learning what he intended to say to me even more frightening. Lupin, what were you about to say?
いや、タイミング外しちまったし、今は一旦忘れてくれ。
Well, at least we're going to come back to it, right? His smile looks forced. He steps closer, patting me awkwardly on the head. It was terribly unlike him.
後でまたちゃんと話すからよ。ここは冷えるし、先に行ってな。
Fair enough. Part of me wanted to question him there and then, but simply nodded and turned towards the mansion. Yes, wait for a more fitting mood. After Cardia disappeared completely inside the cavernous mansion.
さて。
Oh, wait, they just stayed outside. I decided to consult Victor and Saint Germain, purposefully neglecting to hide my misgivings.
再会の挨拶って行きたいとこだが、お前らには先に聞きたいことがある。
それはひょっとしなくとも手紙のことですか？
I know, right?
ああ。カルディアは最近、この屋敷宛てに何通か手紙を出したって言ってた。けど、俺は一通も受け取ってねえ。となるとまあ、当然知ってるとしたら、俺以外の屋敷の住人ってわけだ。
そこまで気づいてるんなら、もう隠しても仕方ないね。君が予想してる通りだよ。彼女からの手紙を隠したのは、インピーも含めた僕たち3人だ。
なんでまたそんなことをした？
Perhaps because I had worked most of it out already, I wasn't angry. I know these men too well. None of them would have done something so unreasonable without good reason. Sure enough, Victor and Saint Germain both lowered their heads in apology, wearing identical expressions of dismay.
正直に言うとね、君と彼女を見ていて、歯がゆいって気持ちが強かったんだ。
Oh, really?
二人ともお互い思い合っていたのは間違いなかったのに。それなのに事件の後、君たちはお互いの思いを告げることなく別々の道を歩んでしまったから。
幸せになるべき人間が幸せを逃すというのは辛いものです。本人たちがそれで問題ないのなら何もするつもりはありませんでしたが、あなたたちの場合は違う。ですから自身の思いを自覚していただこうと多少の荒療治をさせてもらったのです。
それが手紙をあえて止めといた理由か？
ええ。思い合っているのに大切な日を共に過ごせない寂しさを互いに自覚してもらって、幸せがまだ手の届くところにあるというのがどれだけ大切なことか理解してもらうために。
I sighed deeply, scratching my head. It would appear I was the only one who didn't know. What a pathetic joke, truly. But a joke that all my friends knew what was going on in our hearts, yet I did not.
それじゃあこれ返しておくね。読んでみるといいよ。
Victor takes a sheaf of letters from his pocket and hands them to me. The soft, refined handwriting was Cardia's, there could be no doubt.
というか、待て、これ。
After reading only the opening lines of the first letter, my hands are trembling and my heart leaps in my chest. I imagined her subconscious was speaking, affection practically flowed from every word. I want to see you. I want to spend time in London with you again. Her sincerest feelings aimed at the person to whom the passage was addressed. In her way, she wanted me to be aware of her pure emotion devoid of artifice.
もちろんみんな宛ての手紙だからはっきりとは書いてないけど、文の端々から君が好きっていう気持ちが手紙じゃ足りないぐらいに溢れてる。
I'm thinking it back to the letter that he was writing off the top of his head. Can you imagine what she would think if she read that?
ですから我々もこのままでは放っておけないと思った次第です。彼女はもっと幸せになるべきですから。
Taking Saint Germain's words to heart, I passed through the portal to the portal to the mansion. That's what I thought. I had to pause because I'm like, portal? My friends made all the arrangements, and now I know how she feels. There's only one more thing left to do, and I feel like it's long been decided. Tell her how you feel. As far as I can tell, nothing's changed a lick in the Lupin's gang secret hideout. Cat St. Germain's mansion. When everyone finally gets into the same room, we have so much to talk about.
会いたかったよマイプリンセス
My goodness.
手紙出しても返事来ないし、もう永遠に会えないかと思って毎日泣き暮らしてたよ
Of course, that's not going to happen. We'll be seeing plenty of each other.
さあ今こそこの口で再会の熱いキスを
Oh my goodness.
よしわかったインピー。私の相棒もお前とキスをしたいそうだ。ぜひ口づけてやってくれ。
What companion?
わお、冷たい感触。でもこれ口は口でも重厚ってやつよね。
What?
なあもう久々の再会なのに物騒なのは禁止だよバン。
What did he kiss? I want to know.
おやおや、一気に賑やかになりましたね。みんな楽しそうで何よりです。
A freezing muzzle. He just give him a block of ice or something? I don't know. Van Helsing chasing Impy about, menacing him with his gun, Victor trying to mediate the situation. Saint Germain making as if to put a halt to the proceedings, but secretly watching them with a bemused smile. I know, he enjoys it so much. After all, this domicile had paid to post these trabelucks countless times before. I'm tired of looking up words at this point. But at the far end of the dining table, Finnis and Deli seem to be in the midst of a heated debate.
要は前から疑問に思っていたのだ。貴様の髪型は一体どうなっているのかと。
He just asked him, "What's with your hairdo?" Oh my goodness.
それは髪か？飾りなのか？ちょっとここで世に見せてみろ。
Show them to me. That's funny.
バカやめろこのバカ力
I know, like, wear them down. Like, in the last game where he's in a tube, his hair is long and flowing. I'd be okay with long and flowing hair, but like Sailor Moon buns, like, I don't understand.
時間が経って落ち着くどころか、どいつも全然変わんねえな。
In fact, they ramped up their boisterousness factor by a good 20%. I could tell from Lupin's dry chuckle more or less what he's thinking, and I nod in agreement. Well, I certainly can understand their desire to be in the highest of high spirits, what with how rarely they see each other. And anyway, seeing all of our friends up to their old tricks is so much fun, and nostalgic too. I look around the room once more. 8 carefree people and 1 carefree dog. This is where I lived with Lupin, with all of them. This is where I learned what love was through the generous hearts of others. Watching my friends gallivant about in their gay holiday moods is nostalgic, yes, but presently I feel the surge of loneliness. Why? Because when Christmas draws to a close, Vanessa and I will be leaving back to Wales once again. Away from Lupin again. Don't worry, he's got a plan. Stealing a glance beside me, I notice Lupin is watching our friends frolic in the silence as well. In silence. Well, I mustn't think about what may or may not happen. I'm here to enjoy the present. And in any case, everyone is here. Wasting this time would be awful.
はいはい、おかわりもあるからみんなたっぷり食べてちょうだいな。
Impy's distinctive voice echoes through the large chamber as a cornucopia of dishes are brought to the grand table. Perfectly roasted turkeys, vibrant salads of just picked veggies, the aroma of fresh baked bread, fruit gleaming like jewels. Mince pie chock full of dried fruit, aromatic mulled wine smelling of cinnamon. More dishes than I can scarcely name, each made by Impy at his best, each looking more delicious than the last. And thus, with a scrumptious feast, the Lupin's gang evening drew on. It was a glorious party that could have been straight out of a fairy tale. As we savored the panoply of dishes, catching up on one another's lives, the hour hand of the great clock made its circuit 3 times, perhaps even 4. Ew. Stepping outside for a brief break, the contrast of the hallway's cooler air was sharp. It quickly served to order my racing thoughts. None of them have changed a lick after all. My unconscious smile rose to my lips. My friends had made me feel as though none of us had been separated a day. I now live in Wales, and I could not say why, but the feeling that I'm home there feels mysteriously right. After standing by the door for a while, trying to listen over the clamor and clacker emanating from the dining room. Oh, Lupin. He pokes his head out, peers around, and when he notices I am there, he walks right up to me.
なんだ、こんなとこにいたのか。廊下はさすがに少し寒いだろ。
I'm fine. The cool feels good right now, and here the night view seems so gorgeous. Together we look out. Saturday moonlit reflects off the mounds of white snow, making the night world appear wrought of platinum. We were both struck speechless by the soft, gentle glow of the silence, so different from the lights of the city.
綺麗なもんだな。白銀の雪景色ってのは。
Yes, gorgeous, soft, but somehow also a bit sad.
寂しい。
Sad. Once the snow melts, we'll never see this exact sight again. Lupin is silent, wearing an expression that for a moment made him look as though someone had stabbed him through the chest. He takes one deep, long breath. Regards me for some time. I feel his gaze on my profile. At length he opens his mouth to speak.
さっきも言いかけたけどよ。少し話をさせてもらっていいか。
What were you trying to say when Shirley happened? And when we got to the mansion?
ああ、さっきは邪魔が入ったが、3度目の正直って言葉もあるしな。
Way to be optimistic.
よく聞いてくれ。俺は、お前の。
Then, as if Lupin's voice could be heard in the cacophony of the dining room.
おーいルパンカルディアどこへ行ったのだ
You need to leave the mansion if you want to have some peace and quiet. A cheery voice echoed out from somewhere.
Three度目の正直。
Another one I've heard them say is whatever happens twice happens thrice. Ballet's fast approaching gallop sounded to me less like footsteps and more like mocking laughter at Lupin's expense. Then...
くそ、こうなりゃ。
I know. I was about to say, you gotta leave if you want any peace and quiet. Time to run. Hurry. Escape. Lupin slaps his cheek sharply, and at once he regains his composure. He wraps his arms around me, pulling me close. Oh, they're gonna hide instead of run.
静かにしてろ。ドラちゃんにバレちまうだろ。
This is adorable how they're hiding. He was like a boy hiding his favorite bit of treasure where nobody could find it. Lupin presses his body into mine with such force I nearly stumble and fall. Behind me, a solid wall. In front of me, Lupin. Our bodies, our lips, even our very hearts. So close, I imagined for a moment we could meld our beings into one. Try as I so desperately might, I could not hold silent. Then, perhaps he spots Lupin's slightly lighter suit in the shadows. Deli strides directly.
お、そこにいるのはルパン。カルディアを見なかったか？
ああ、そういやさっきから見てねえな。なんか用事でもあるのか？
I could barely make out Deli's back as he turned his head to scan the hallway.
いや、先ほどの話がまだ途中だったから続きを話してやろうと思ってな。まったく、あやつはどこに行ったのだ。希代の名君ドラクロワとうっかりヘルシングの珍道中の話はここからが山場だというのに。
I'm over here, Deli. I thought to respond automatically, but I could not. In fact, there was no possible way to do so. Our bodies were so close, pressed together, touching. If we were only a hair's breadth even closer, stealing a kiss would be effortless. Oh, really? Yeah, if Deli saw, I had no doubt there would be misunderstandings. He was a king he was, but he was still just a boy. But even knowing that...
そいつは俺も興味あるな。後でゆっくり聞かせてくれよ。
Lupin spoke with practiced casualness and a face of perfect innocence.
ふむ、他の連中もまだまだ話したがっていたし、あの娘を見つけたら教えてくれ。今夜は眠ることなど許さん。朝まで世の話に付き合ってもらうとな。
With that, Deli pivots and dashes off on light feet. But I am plagued by other matters. And I release the breath I have been holding onto for dear life. A fatigue so great I might collapse to the floor hits me.
聞いたか？今夜は寝かせねえだとよ。まったく、子供のくせに。
Right. Now I have, other concerns, most of which are your fault.
悪いな。どうしても二人だけになりたかったんだ。そうしねえと話せない内容だしよ。というか、あれだ。そもそもこの屋敷にいる限り、二人にはなりようがねえな。
But then, Lupin chuckles as if a wonderful idea had occurred to him and he extends a hand to me. In fact, it was just like the other day we met. Sometime later.
で、結局、姉さんはどこ行ったわけ？
いや、それがさっぱり。部屋に戻ったのかと思ったけど、ノックしても反応ないし。
Lupin has stolen her away. Though the Christmas party was continuing to be merry late into the night, Victor's next words command attention.
そのことなんだけど、さっき廊下にこんな紙が落ちてたんだ。
Is it one of his plan to steal letters? All present gather around Victor, curious as to how the paper could be connected to Cardia's disappearance. On it was written,
屋敷に咲く美しき一輪の花は、今宵この泥棒紳士めが借り受けます。
余計なお世話が大好きな親愛なる仲間たちへ。泥棒紳士、アルセーヌ・ルパン。
meddlesome friends. That's cute. So, not only does Lupin get to go out once with her, but he gets to go out twice with her. Saint Germain, I'm still going to be mad about this. He got nothing. I wonder how long Lupin and I have been speeding through the city of London. From one rooftop to the next. Carrying me in his arms, Lupin runs so quickly the surrounding snowscapes recede into a blur behind us. Yes, we could climb down to the streets and walk together properly, but I felt like letting Lupin spoil me a bit. Feeling his powerful arms around me. So close I could hear his breath, his heart beating. I cannot help but be reminded of that night. The night he spirited me away from my solitude, the night we met. I don't think a single person has even noticed us.
そういう風に動いてるんだ。もう誰であろうと邪魔されたくねえからな。
Even at this late hour, the streets below teem with humanity still. The city glitters. The voices of revelers on the street are a pleasant murmur. The joyful music echoes every direction. I could not find a single sign that Christmas was to end just yet. London, the steel city, its dull grays of iron and colorless cobblestone made a moniker very apt. All of that had been replaced with a riot of color for this night. Lupin runs a great distance. The festive bustle of the city gradually grows more distant. This one's turning out to be really long. I'm not going to be able to get it edited. Oh my goodness. Lupin runs a great distance. The festive bustle of the city gradually grows more distant.
さて、ここならいいか。
Lowered down to my feet after a very long time, I found myself in a place we had been once before, only in bright sunlight. Aww. Took her to the Christmas tree. Very pretty at night. It was the resplendent Christmas tree, but from the church roof we now saw it from above. It's beautiful. The sense imparted by the tree is very different by moonlight. Its fine ornaments reflect not the sun, but gaslight. Against the black of night, it is bright enough to beat back the dark. The Christmas tree looks like it's spangled with real stars. It was a spot for the two of us, just far enough from the tide of London's merriment. Lupin turns to face me.
ここならようやく邪魔されずに言葉を紡げそうだ。
Oh. He had been stymied so many times that my one syllable felt rude in the extreme. But Lupin only laughs, and that makes me smile. Please do, tell me. I really need to know what it is. At first I had been almost frightened to know, but it's different now. I could guess at his feelings. But most importantly, I understand my own. In all honesty, I want to hear him say it so much my heart begins to pound.
後悔してたんだ。ずっと。お前を駅で見送ったあの日から。ウェールズに帰ったのはお前もいろいろ考えてのことだって分かってる。実際その選択は間違いじゃねえ。だからこの言葉は今更だって言われても仕方ねえ。俺の単なるわがままだが。俺は本当はお前と離れたくなかった。
As I listened to Lupin speak, I began to understand the extent of what he had felt, and I ached for him. How often had he thought of me? Was it through confronting his own regrets that he decided to tell me these things?
お前に会いたい。もう一度前みたいに話をしたい。けど、お前の気持ちが違ったらって身動きができなくなったこともあった。
Listening to every single phrase he had chosen.
本当に俺はお前がいないとダメだってことを離れてみてようやく痛感した。しかもこうやって言えるのも仲間たちにお膳立てしてもらって自分の気持ちを自覚してようやくだ。
It's how I understood I had been through the same things.
まったく何から何まで俺らしくねえな。
I see the toll it has taken on him, and I know it is my turn to say, we don't agree. I don't quite agree. I guess what I had said had come to a surprise. He wore a puzzled expression. But I simply smile. say that because it took the both of us some time to come to our realizations, so much less to share them, so that makes two of us. I've been just as lonely, and I was just as unsure as what to do. Even our letters, there were plenty of ways we could have checked on them. I take a step forward and place my hand on his cheek. Now, in this moment, I know that he can feel the warmth of my hand against him. Nothing has ever given me such joy. Lupin, you came to see me. First I heard your voice, then I saw your face. I was so happy I had to will myself not to cry. So many thoughts tumbled around in my head right then. All I was able to get out was an I missed you.
そうか。じゃあ、お揃いだな。
Both of us broke into a simultaneous laughter then, seeing one another to do so by the light of the Christmas tree. Quite unexpectedly. What? Specks of glittering white began to drift down from the sky, made visible by the gaslight.
おっと、また降ってきちまったか。こりゃ早く帰れって合図か？
It's just snow, it's fine. Yes. But can we watch it fall for just a while? I hold up a hand to catch some, but the snowflakes slip through my fingers. Purest white floating on air. The particles dance all around us. It made for a magical sight, and that was when Lupin gently put his arm around me.
改めて仕切り直した。言えなかったことをここで言わせてくれ。
I need to say something too. I know we both feel the same, so...
Cardia、お前にずっと会いたかった。ずっとお前に触れたかった。ずっとこの言葉を言いたかった。俺はお前を愛してる。
You think just 3 words can make my heart skip, put butterflies in my belly. Tears are moments from drawing warm past down my cheek. Sure, any reply would catch in my throat. I summoned all of my will to speak. I wish I'd never left you either. I do very much want to. My little brother is my only family. I need to spend time with him, but at the same time, I need to be with you. I mean to say together. Because I love you too. I never guessed that sharing our feelings for one another in the same words would be what brought me ultimate happiness. You left him speechless. Our lips come together and our body heat mingles. It is gentle. However, unspoken was the shared knowledge that we were each other's true loves. It was a kiss that lasted long enough to make this knowledge an undeniable fact. I have to ask Finnis what he wants, about living in Wales, about what might happen in the future.
じゃなかったら俺がウェールズに住むとかな。
Aw, he moved to Wales with her. That might be lovely too. No matter what path I choose, even if there are paths I'm not yet aware of, I cannot imagine a life led without Lupin by my side. We share one more brief kiss only with that truth in mind.
ゆっくり考えねえとな。お前が、俺が、他の連中が、一番笑顔でいられる道を。
The snow continues to fall, and the dreary gray landscape is draped in white silver. Little by little, the vast accumulation of tiny snowflakes repaint the world. A miracle was wrought amongst that wintertide wonderland. From that moment forth, I had a guardian to ensure my continual rebirth as a happier woman each day. Life with my beloved seemed bathed in such silver, such purest of whites. This is the most wondrous of futures. May it bring us endless blessings. Their story was so cute. And now we get to hang out with Lupin special CG and side story unlocked screen. It looks like he just woke up in this CG anyway. Yeah, I don't actually know how long this is because I had to split it up into 2 videos, so I feel like it's been really long, but it's probably going to end up being the same after I cut everything out. Yep, Lupin's definitely got a whole lot more attention because Lupin is pretty much the main character of this game. It's the quote main character, like he's locked in the first game. You have to do everyone's story before you even get his. So they have a special attention to detail with Lupin's, but I'm okay with it because Lupin's my second favorite. They all have really cute stories and they all have really cute personalities, so I can't dislike any of them. Anyways, if you guys did enjoy, leave a like down below and or subscribe, and I'll try to get out the last 2, MP and Van Helsing's, as soon as I can. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.